So Trevor Bauer accuser indicted for allegedly trying to extort $3.6 million. Darcy Adana faces up to 16 years in prison if convicted on fraud and extortion charges related to Trevor Bauer, with allegations including obtaining benefits through fraudulent pretenses. According to the indictment, Bauer asserts, when I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim. Bauer claims the encounter with Esemunu was initiated by her sharing electronic communications as evidence, stating we had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020, nothing that could be explained remotely rough, she initiated. He alleges a pattern of extortion attempts linking her to previous accusations against him, emphasizing it's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. Tom, thoughts on the story here?
Look,
as I said, by the way, do you want to play the first minute? Just play the first minute, and then, Tom, you'll react to it. Go ahead.
We had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020. Nothing that could be considered remotely rough. She initiated it, but don't take my word for it. Take hers. This is a picture and text message she sent me the next morning explaining why she came on to me. And for months afterwards, she repeatedly requested to sleep with me again. For example, this text from January 7th, 2021. At one point, she even requested a sample of my sperm so she could have my child whenever she wanted to in the future. Jesus. Now, it's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. More than a year after the one time we slept together, and only after Lindsay Hill made up her false allegations, Adana retained a lawyer. She then demanded $3.6 million and claimed I forced her to have an abortion, leaving her emotionally devastated and irretrievably damaged by it. But here's the thing, she never had an abortion because she was never even pregnant, and that's corroborated by her own medical records. When I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim and filed a civil suit against me. In that version of her story, she claimed, for the first time by the way, that there was non-consensual sex, but her texts from the next morning show what actually happened. Remember this text in which she explains why she came on to me? She also claims that instead of an abortion, she actually had a miscarriage, but that's impossible, of course, because again, she was never even pregnant.
Tom.
Look, this is just the dark side of cleat chasers. And once again, this shows where you've got a player who is a very public target and everybody's coming out after him. I can remember when, there were multiple, I don't even need to recount it. There have been athletes who have had multiple women coming after them. You've got a contract. If it is against the law to meet a girl on Instagram and, have a date, if that's against the law, then basically the NBA playoffs would be reduced to a 2-on-2 tournament.
That's a good point.
Let's be real. And what you have here also is the authorities take so long to do these things. Look how long the Pasadena DA sat on the Lindsay Hill case. And Lindsay Hill lied. She could have been indicted. She lied to the government. She withheld, with her attorney, obstructed justice. Remember the Duke DA that reacted to public opinion? The Duke DA and the lacrosse case, that DA was later charged, prosecuted, convicted, and incarcerated because he covered up evidence and he manipulated things because public opinion said, oh, these white boys at Duke hired, a exotic dancer. She got upset because she didn't like the tip. She threw all these claims against them, completely unsubstantiated, no evidence whatsoever, but the DA ran with it in the court of public opinion. You know what? This is the new world we live in. The world we live in a hookup culture and things. You have these women who are cleat chasing on these things. Not all the players are good, and they get into trouble, and they get suspended when you have domestic violence. But you know what? I want to know is where the owners are right now. Where are the owners? The owners that are standing up and saying, you know what? I'm going to let people play when we find out this stuff is false. Once upon a time, you had owners that were bold and that would protect their players. And I don't mean cover up for players that had done legitimately bad things where they were getting prosecuted. If you're filmed in an elevator beating up your girlfriend, you're not going to play in the NFL. Sorry. If you are are filmed beating somebody up and there's 12 witnesses, then guess what? There's an investigation and Ezekiel Elliott didn't play 6 games. But then the owners come back and say, look, we are the world of second chances. And once you serve your penance, or if you haven't done anything in the first place. And
so you think somebody needs to give them an offer now?
I think somebody needs to do it, because once upon a time the owners were like were stallions, and now the owners they become like owners. The owners once upon a time were, when I say that, what I mean is once upon a time owners were taking chances. The reason that we've had great progress because sports owners took chances on people, and sports owners brought people forward. And I think now owners have become geldings grazing off TV contracts. And you know what? You've got teams like, I mean, if I was an owner of a sports team and I had maybe the reigning Cy Young winner was on the injured list, and I looked around, why wouldn't Trevor Bauer be
What if
invited?
we do this? I got an idea. Rob, can you Google chastity belt? Google chastity belt. I have an idea. Trevor Bauer's agent, if you're watching this. If I'm going to talk to any Major League Baseball team, I would say Trevor Bauer has agreed to wear a chastity belt for 3 years.
What's that thing on the right, Rob?
To make sure nothing is going to happen. Now, these devices, can you look at the history of chastity belt? Let's educate some people
They
here.
were worn by men.
Typically women, Pat.
Go back to chastity belt, Rod.
Rob's wearing one right now.
Go one. Devices were reportedly worn by women and male. Were there chastity belts for men? Can we find chastity belts for men?
No, they got Viagra. They want them more.
So what do we have to do to protect men for the MLB to feel safe that they don't have to worry about this guy's going to do anything? What can he do?
Well, you're going to have 10 players just called the Players Association and said, if that gets into the CBA, I'm not playing.
It's called just being smart, bro. Using your big head, not your little head here.
But that's not him.
Yeah.
No, trust me. Like, if there's anybody that's going to be smart moving forward, it's this guy.
Yeah, well,
you know how much money he's lost? He's lost $300 million.
I was going to say hundreds of millions.
FYI, if this guy, just listen to him every time he does a video, you know what I think about? I think about this guy could be such a great lawyer. He's at this point, he's probably already qualified to be a lawyer. He probably passed a bar exam. He probably could get his JD. And at the same time, the more and more he has to explain himself why girls are thrown at him for sex, he could be the next Hugh Hefner, Tom. I mean, if he wanted to be like the guy that, in the book Art of Seduction, it was always the guy that they write about. So who knows? Maybe Robert Greene's going to write a new book about it.
Here's my parting shot. You know what?
Get to the point, though, Tom.
The court of public opinion.
On,
the court of public
point?
opinion, is played out on MSNBC and CNN. And if I was an owner, I wouldn't worry about MSNBC and CNN talking about this because they don't air ball games and they haven't done any contracts with leagues. I wouldn't worry about that.
Finally, you give your point.
There it is.
That's exactly right. And I would say this, I think people like Stephen A., they've got sources inside leagues and inside players associations. And I ask a question, why isn't this man back at work? Why isn't Trevor Bauer throwing off the bump for a major league team now?
Because no team wants to take the gamble.
Because they don't want the heat of public opinion. But I don't.
Each team has their own permission to sign who they want.
Chastity belt's getting tight. Tom, Rob, what were you going to say?
Stephen A., you got to call him out. You got to call out the league here. That's more than just Bauer. It's the court of public opinion.
Can I say
let these falsely accused guys play.
Can my friend Vinny say something today?
Well, Rob is about to jump out of his freaking chastity belt. Let the guy talk, because I have one thing I want to say.
Go ahead.
It's just interesting. Tom brought up Ray Rice.
Rob, we can't hear you. Turn on the mic.
Turn on.
It's on. They don't have me on.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It's interesting. Tom brought up Ray Rice. Did you know? And everybody saw that video.
No, he brought up Ezekiel Elliott mistakenly. It should be Ray Rice.
No, I brought up both.
He brought up the elevator at the Borgata in Atlantic City where Ray Rice was filmed, assaulting his girlfriend, knocking her out. Do you know December 29th of last year, the Ravens honored Ray Rice.
Yes.
And the Legends game, they actually brought him out on the field. The entire stadium stood up and applauded this guy.
With his girl.
Who was caught on camera beating his wife. Trevor Bauer never was arrested. No. He was never charged with anything, and he's been cleared by all 4 victims that accused him of these acts, and yet this guy can't get back in Major League Baseball.
And the Pasadena DA obstructed justice.
So here's here's the point that I wanted to make is he lost how much money? $350 million.
Hundreds of millions, no doubt.
The innocent until proven guilty was not applied here.
Cy Young Award winner.
Is he going to be able to get legal action because the Dodgers, is that where he was? They fired him, basically, right? They fired him because of just allegations, right? He can't get any of that? You can't sue for that?
No.
Because I mean,
you can sue for anything. This is America. You can sue for anything. But to win is a different story.
Hey, by the way, with Trevor Bauer, here's my one question. Should we still believe all women?
That was up there.
Is this what we're at right now?
Adam, that was thrown out the window years ago.
You're not believing here's this lady. By the way, here's the second half of the story. She didn't just do it to Trevor Bauer. She did it to another dude as well. How many other dudes did she do this to? So we've seen.
There's a clip. Trevor actually talks about that. So his team, his legal team, subpoenaed a witness, and then this woman went and accused the witness of sexual assault, so that the witness could not testify on Trevor Bauer's behalf. I have a clip of it if you want to see that.
Yeah, while you're pulling it up, we'd all love to see that. By the way,
what a qualified
psycho.
But these women are out there, like they're called cleat chasers or jersey jumpers. We've seen these ladies out there,
Rob's case,
and they're looking. This is why someone like a Drake, not that he's a athlete, rapper. This is why when he uses a condom, wrap it up, Trev. Puts hot sauce in the condom. Remember that story?
What?
And the woman, you don't remember the story? It was viral about a year ago. He put hot sauce in the condom. He's just lying in bed. And he hears the women screaming from the back. Because she tried to take the used condom and she realized the hard way, the hot way, that ain't way to do it. So guys, get some hot sauce. But by the way, what's gonna happen to the woman who actually ruined this dude's life?
That hot sauce needs to get credit, whatever the brand is. At least.
Lindsay Hill.
Adam
Tabasco.
Sosnick, there it is right there. But what's going to happen to the woman who actually ruined his life? Because this wasn't even the main lady.
No, Lindsay Hill wasn't charged, but she should have been charged. And the Pasadena DA sat on everything in the court of public opinion. They had inadequate evidence. They absolutely sat at it. And the Pasadena DA should have been taken down the same way the Duke DA was taken down, who was charged, prosecuted, convicted, and then incarcerated for the Duke lacrosse case. That DA ended up in prison.
And not only did Lindsay Hill not face any type of consequences from the authorities, she actually got a $300,000 payout from her insurance company.
That was her name, Lindsay Hill?
Lindsay Hill. She actually lied about the charges and then got a $300,000 payday.
He's not lying.
So Lindsay Hill.
This is a 23-second clip, Pat. This is him talking about Darcy, the woman that accused him of impregnating her and then forcing her to get an abortion.
It gets worse. In my lawsuit against her,
Yep, Rob. He's on cocaine right there. Okay, go ahead.
It gets worse. In my lawsuit against her, we subpoenaed a witness whom she knew for relevant documents to use in our case. And when she found out, she immediately made sexual assault claims against him, too. Her MO is clear. Lie to men to get their money, extort them if she must, and when they refuse to pay, stop paying or stop giving her what she wants, go to the police, accuse them of sexual assault, and file a civil suit against them to retaliate.
Well, by the way, think about it if you're on Tinder, and this girl's got a date, right?
Of course.
And you go on a date and it's her. How are you feeling right there? Can you imagine you're on date, you're like, your waiter comes. Can you please record this entire thing?
Yes.
I'll give you $1,000.
And please give me a side of hot sauce.
Yeah. Can you please? And you tell her, you say, I'm leaving. I am.
You've joked about this before, not even joking. You've said that any famous figure, any public figure, literally needs to shoot a video, be like, hi, I'm Bill. I'm sitting here with Susie. This is what I'm doing.
My phone would be filled with those videos.
Yeah.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party.
Tulsi Gabbard says she is no longer a Democrat. A potential Tulsi Gabbard VP.
Where we are being told that we just have to comply and go along with whatever they say.
American people are smarter than this. However, we must remain vigilant to recognize their propaganda for what it is, pure lie. Unfortunately, we live in a time where free speech is under attack.
Whatever they say goes, and we have to just follow.
And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology. Taking on Kamala Harris on a debate stage before, I would look forward to doing that again.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.